Hey guys, welcome to another episode of The Dark Corner. It's episode number 6. Having fun doing these. I'm still trying to get um story submissions. Like I said, I've said in a couple videos before. I know a lot of people who do these horror vlogs and creepy, scary story reading type stuff. They usually pull a lot of their stories off of Reddit. I'm trying to avoid doing that. Though right now I don't have too many. I don't really have any other submissions at the moment yet. So, I mean, please feel free to submit your stories to me. Past paranormal experiences. Live anytime you've lived in haunted houses or been in haunted areas. Scary things that's happened, etc. Blah blah blah. You've seen fucking UFOs and some black eye Charons. just just send me a story and I'll read it on here. Until then, I know it's mostly want to keep these like, cause it's like the holiday season. Want to keep these like holiday horror stories or scary road trip stories. So since I don't have any submissions, I can just tell another one that Susie, also known as Dr. Bitchcraft, reminded me of. Well, I guess was it around a holiday? No, not really. It was in the summertime actually when this was going. So back in 2015, we were still living in Van Nuys, California. At the time, we were living in the apartment we were living in. Our old roommate had, bailed out. We were living in this place that we had no electricity at all at the time. It was just the bill was completely ridiculous, and honestly, money was tight on my end, so I wasn't able to help with the bills as much as I would have liked. So the electric got cut off, and our roommate skipped out and left us with the entire electric bill. So we were living there by ourselves. It's a 2-bedroom apartment. No power. I mean, occasionally, we'd buy batteries for little mobile flashlights. We have candles. We also, in order to charge our phone and stuff like that, there was an outlet that was outside of our door, and we used to plug into sometimes. We also, because management hated it when we used the outlet outside, even though nobody else was using it. And that was, I mean, at the time that was how we would occasionally have some light and be able to like do things like charge our phones and just not go completely bonkers. Other times I had like a car battery, and I had one of those power inverters that would hook up to it, so that gave us light and power for a while too. We even had like a little bit. Do it just right. We even had a fan going, because it was so fucking hot in there. It was hot in there anyway, but in summertime in LA, if you're living in LA, especially in the valley. But yeah, the building that we lived in at that time anyway it has some things. I mean, there's so many places that have hauntings and residual energies anyway in Los Angeles. It's ridiculous. That's Los Angeles is a pretty big place. It's had a lot of things happen. A lot of negative energy that's happened there. There's all kinds of shit. So, really, finding a haunted apartment building or a haunted hotel or some sort of haunted properties or whatever, it's not that hard to find. Once again, I have plenty of stories for those. So I have fillers until I get actual people to submit anything. I have things to talk about. Well, the power is out and the place is pretty much dark for the most part. little weird things started happening, you know. Started feeling things, started hearing little noises here and there. Um, there was one night, Susan and I were sleeping. It's like usually just slept with the door, our bedroom door open. You know, not the front door, obviously, but the bedroom door open. And I'd have like the door to our roommate's old room open, and I have all the windows open to get a cross breeze because it was so fucking hot, and we had no air conditioner because no power. Um, there was one night we were sleeping, and I had woke up, and Susie, Dr. Bitchcraft, was sitting up, you know, shivering, breathing hard with a flashlight, and they had told me they thought they saw somebody walk in and walk into the room. And first thing I'm thinking of was like, because our roommate left, our roommate has the key still. So, wonder if maybe this was somebody that she knew that came in there. So, I went in there and investigated. Nobody in there. Checked the bathroom, checked the closets, checked the shower, just in case somebody was hiding. There was nobody. I don't know if I mentioned this in a video before, but I mean, Susie is very sensitive to things. That's something I may get into another video. I might see if the doctor would like to join me in one of these videos at some point. But yeah. So, Susie picks up, and something that happened at that time that hasn't happened since. Susie, I guess, I don't know if they were dreams or what, but this used to creep me the fuck out. Susie talked a lot in their sleep, and they talked a lot about seeing these dark figures that used to hang in an apartment, used to hang in our doorway, and that used to watch us sleep. You know, and Susie doesn't remember any of this. You know, I told Susie about it, and Susie's like, what? But yeah, quite a few nights, you know, Susie in their sleep would talk about, you know, the dark figures in the doorway just waiting for the right time to come in and get us. You know? Or maybe there were more so after Susie. I forget the details. It's been a minute. But the way Susie described them, they were very tall, you know, completely black, you know, it's like, you know, a dark, like a shadowy figure, like, you know, shadow people almost, I guess you could say. Except I think they had like glowing eyes or something. And they had big mouths with like big sharp teeth. I guess they kind of almost had a venom look to their face, I guess. I would think that's what they were describing. Either way, it was disturbing. You know, there was one night, and when Susie, the weird thing is, like, you know, I've heard Susie talk in her sleep before, and it's like, you know, not exactly, doesn't make sense. It's not, I mean, it wasn't completely like, I mean, there's been, as they said full sentences and kind of sort of interact in the conversation a little bit. This was a little different. It was like very clear, precise, but yet not. I'm trying how to explain this. I mean, one would chalk it up and say that maybe they were awake and just saying this, but it was it was strange, because it was almost like kind of was almost like it wasn't completely Susie saying this, if this makes sense. Because I never really had to thought about it until now, really, as far as explaining it. But there was one night, Susie went in great detail about these figures, and they would talk to them. And there was like, oh yeah, oh, and also sometimes one would actually like walk into the room and just like lean down on the bed and stare directly into their face. And actually, no, Susie was awake when they told me that part, and I don't think Susie remembers that either, though. Even though they're awake when they told me that, and they were saying that they're awake when they saw this shadow creature kind of leaning down to look at them, and then I guess when Susie moved to and this thing noticed that they were awake, it kind of like ran back out of the room into the doorway. It's like it didn't want to be seen or whatever. I think Susie said they tried to touch it one time and it jumped back. So yeah, between that and then the one night Susie was going into like a really detail about them and about some of the things it said, like you think anybody's gonna protect you, you know, everything, and it's just like. And then it was like, as Susie was telling me, Susie was there, yeah, they're in the doorway right now looking at us. And I'm like, I did not sleep for the rest of the night. I was pretty much up. I'm like, you know what? Well, I guess I'm not going to sleep. I guess I'm going to stay awake. So, yeah. And after that, actually, we ended up getting some temporary roommates, which while they were there, we ended up getting the lights turned back on, and for the most part, all that was forgotten. We ended up losing the apartment anyway later that year because the roommates bailed, but when we left, there was still power, so we still had electricity to work with. So, I mean, we didn't have any more like pitch black things, going on there. But it was weird, and like I said, Susie doesn't really remember much of it. I mean, Susie has some little remembers some pieces, but they don't actually remember the details, except for what I told them. Before I go, I got one more story to tell you. So, same year, and actually, this coincides to a holiday story because it was like this was right around Christmas. This was like right after Christmas. This is right before New Year's, I believe. Or was it after New Year's? It might have been after New Year's. See, I had to get my time thing straightened out. Anyway, at the time, already sent Susie back out here to Indiana. Obviously the plan was to have Susie out here first, and then I would follow later on with the U-Haul, with the rest of our stuff and tow in the car. So in the meantime, I was living in the car. I had the car parked in Denny's parking lot. The Denny's is in North Hollywood, up on Burbank and Lancashire. For all of you in that area, if you should know that Denny's I'm talking about. And I wasn't the only car that did that, but yeah, I used to sleep there. Nobody bothered me, as far as I know of. There was some weird things that happened. Like there was one night I woke up just some guy just walking around the parking lot, just kind of talking and just mumbling to himself and everything. I always slept in a car with the doors locked. You know, I never slept with, you know, doors unlocked or anything because, you know, people are fucking weird. And I'm pretty sure I get the feeling that the doors may have been tried a few times. But luckily for me, you know, like I said, I kept those locked and nobody could do shit. But one night, I decided to hang out with an ex friend of mine at the time. Well, he was a friend of mine at the time. He's an ex friend now. But he wanted to take me to the Wonderland house. Now, for those of you, there's only some of you might remember know what that is. For you, those of you that don't, there's also a movie based on that as well. Um, like back in the '70s, John Holmes, you know, the porn star, was mixed up in some shit, you know, and there was this house he was hung out at, which was up on Wonderland Drive, like up in like the Laurel Canyon, off Laurel Canyon area, something like that. It was up like around up in like around Laurel Canyon. It's up in Mulholland Hills, something like that. Forgot what area that is, but I know it's like up off of Laurel Canyon, I believe. I think you might want to look it up, the directions for yourself. I'm gonna do it too. Like I said, it's been a minute since it's been up that way. So we went up there. Like I said, anyway, back to what happened there. I guess, you know, John Holmes like owed people money. He was in with this mafia type guy, and I guess John and these other people kind of fucked this guy over on some money. So the guy supposedly made John Holmes go with some of his guys to the house where these people at, and basically kill all these people in the house. You know, so you had this house like all these people were just murdered at. You know, brutally murdered at that. I mean, they were like, you know, head bashed in, brutally murdered. But anyway, people are still living in this house now. I'm sure it's been fixed up. I don't know if anybody's ever had any problems there. You know, I find it weird living in a place where there is like a bunch of grisly murders that happen. But then again, honestly, you know, whenever you move into a place, you never know the history, so you never know if there was brutal murders or suicides or whatever there. So we went up there, and you know, we were checking out the place. We didn't really, the way it's set up, there's no sidewalks up there. It's all steep hills, and you can't just park and just walk around. It's like, so you gotta drive, or you gotta, like, you know, park inside like a driveway or something. And well, more like a garage. There wasn't exactly like a lot of like driveways there, the way it's set up in those hills. But we kind of slowed down by it, and some dude like came to his window, so we drove off. And then, because I'm sure whoever's living there is getting tired of people coming in there checking the house out. That's the problem. That's another problem living in places like that. If people know about it, they're gonna come, you know, visit it and everything. And then, you know, it's like people who lived at the Amityville house. You know, they complain more about people coming to check the place out, you know, tourists and stuff like that, rather than any actual paranormal activity at the house. But so after that. It was a weird night after that, actually, though. After we left up there, it felt kind of weird. It was kind of a weird vibe. I think it was kind of heavy because of the subject matter. Anyway, you know, we were hanging out at a Denny's back in Van Nuys, not too far from where I was crashing at. And while we're sitting at a table like right by a window, and somebody, I guess they were drunk, jumped over the sidewalk and ran their car into like there's like a wall section, like sort of like a wall, but it's like a little flower bed thing, and they ran into that right where we were at. I mean, if they went a little bit faster and just popped up just right, they could have went through the window and just smashed us both in. So that was kind of freaky to me. Then while I'm sleeping in the car, this could have, I chalk this up to a nightmare possibly, but you know, shit happens in your dreams too, something is like reaching up through the floorboards, grabbing my legs and trying to pull me down into some darkness. Very realistic. I could actually feel the hands clawing at my legs and pulling on the material in my pants, pulling me down. That's how realistic it felt. And I forced myself awake, and I'm not sure what the deal was with that. And that might have just been just plain anxiety, nightmare from everything happening, with stressful situation, along with what we did earlier, checking a place out and everything, and talking about it and everything. So hope you enjoyed the video. If you have scary stories, maybe some. Actually, I'll accept stuff that's written too. I mean, maybe it's something you just wrote. I'll read that on here. But I'm really looking for actual experiences. If you want to share them with me, and I'll read them here. Also, give me some suggestions of what you'd like to see on the show. Comments below. Leave some comments on the Dark Corner Facebook page. Message me. Give me some thoughts. How am I doing so far? What do you want to see more in the show? How can I make 2019 a better year for shows like this, like the Dark Corner? Because I want this to be more popular. I want people to get more into it. But I want to find out what it is you would like to see. What would you want to see? I know I want to get out and do more exploration. I want to do more ghost hunting. It's just been a matter of time. Trying to get people together to help. Conflicting schedules because we're all adulting. And also, once again, trying to get people to submit stories and everything as well. Maybe even try to get a couple guests here so we can sit down and we can talk about stuff, certain subjects and everything. That could be fun too. So yeah. Anyway, if you liked the video, please hit the like button, leave some comments, some feedback, please share the video. If you're not already subscribed to this channel, please hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell, because I upload videos pretty often. I'm trying to keep a set schedule, sometimes not always able to do that, but for the most part, I upload videos pretty often. So definitely want the notification bell so you get notified when I upload a new video. Thanks for watching, and I'll be back with another episode pretty soon. I'm going to try to get another episode done before New Year's. So I want to do like three or four episodes this month. So I'm going to try to do one more. Hopefully that'll be a good one. Might try a ghost hunting one. Might be trying something because, as I mentioned in the very first video about my trailer park, it's mostly empty and it's also pretty haunted. And I think one of the trailers across the street might be as well, because I keep getting weird vibes from it. But I'm gonna wait to do that on a night. May have that somebody with me, even though it's just right across the street, but still, I might like to have another person. Anyway, thanks for watching. See you guys later. And remember, make sure to beware of those dark corners, because you never know what's lurking in them.